The Radical Power of Softness, Redefining Strength in Business and Life. Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. I want to begin by acknowledging the profound wisdom that shaped this talk. Recently, I had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Tina Branch, a visionary entrepreneur whose work has fundamentally transformed how we understand leadership, particularly for Black women in business. Tina isn't just building companies, she's creating entire ecosystems of support, healing, and empowerment that are challenging centuries old narratives about strength, success, and power. Her revolutionary approach has already lifted thousands of women entrepreneurs from survival mode into sustainable success, and the ripples of her work are reshaping industries that have historically marginalized these voices. What Tina shared with me was nothing short of revolutionary, and it centers around one counterintuitive truth that I want to explore with you today: softness, choosing healing, emotional boundaries, and peace is not weakness. It is perhaps the most radical form of strength we can embody in our modern world. Let that sink in for a moment. For generations, we've been told that strength means pushing harder, that success requires constant hustle, that leadership demands unwavering toughness. We've glorified the grind, celebrated the burnout, and normalized the sacrifice of our well being on the altar of achievement. But what if the most revolutionary act of power isn't forcing your way through barriers, but allowing yourself the grace to heal as you climb? This isn't just a feel good theory. The data tells a compelling story. At the 2025 Women's Business Enterprise National Council Conference in New Orleans, a city itself emblematic of resilience through softness, something remarkable happened. Black women entrepreneurs were recognized as the driving force behind an astonishing 32.7% average revenue increase among Black women owned firms since 2019. These weren't isolated success stories, this was a movement. I spoke with several of these business leaders afterward. One woman, the founder of a thriving tech company, told me something I'll never forget. She said, "I didn't succeed despite taking time for my healing. I succeeded because of it. When I finally set boundaries around my time, my energy, and my emotional labor, everything changed. My creativity exploded. My decision making improved. My team became more innovative. What looked like softness to the outside world became my superpower." This woman's journey wasn't unique. Throughout the conference, I heard story after story of women who had transformed personal adversity, family estrangement, grief, loss, health challenges into the very foundation of their business models. They weren't succeeding by ignoring their wounds. They were succeeding by healing them, by transforming their pain into purpose. And yet, these women face staggering systemic barriers. Research from the National Bureau of Economic Research paints a stark picture. Fewer than 10% of U.S. entrepreneurs are Black, despite making up a larger share of the population. Men start new businesses at rates 64% higher than women. Blacks start at rates 22% lower than whites. And venture capital backed startups run by Black founders represent less than 2.4% of the total. Women receive only 45% approval on requested loans versus men's 55%. The denial rates are even higher for women of color. These aren't just statistics, these are systemic walls designed to keep certain voices out of the conversation, certain perspectives out of the marketplace, certain innovations from ever seeing the light of day. And yet, despite these obstacles, Black women owned businesses have seen revenue growth rates outpacing all other demographics. How? By rejecting the traditional model of success and embracing a new paradigm. This new paradigm has three key components that Tina shared with me, and I want to explore each one with you today. First, choosing softness is a strategic advantage. Embracing emotional boundaries, healing from generational trauma, and prioritizing peace are not just acts of self care, they're essential leadership skills that foster innovation, creativity, and sustainable business growth. The science backs this up. When we're constantly in survival mode, our brains literally cannot access our most creative, innovative thinking. Chronic stress narrows our focus to immediate threats, shutting down the parts of our brain responsible for big picture thinking and creative problem solving. By contrast, when we create space for rest, healing, and emotional well being, we unlock our full creative potential. We make better decisions. We build more sustainable businesses. We lead more effectively. I met a woman at that conference who had built a seven-figure business after taking 6 months off to heal from a devastating personal loss. Everyone told me I was committing career suicide, she said, but that time of healing and reflection completely transformed how I approach business. I came back with clarity, purpose, and a level of creativity I'd never experienced before. What looked like stepping back was actually the biggest leap forward of my career. The second key insight is that Black women are leading transformative change. Despite systemic barriers, including significant funding gaps, Black women owned businesses have seen remarkable growth. They're building ecosystems for collective advancement by supporting each other through mentorship, access to capital, and community building. This isn't just about individual success stories, it's about a fundamental shift in how we think about business and leadership. It's about recognizing that true success isn't measured by how high you climb alone, but by how many people you bring with you. The traditional model of success is built on scarcity thinking, the idea that there's only so much to go around, so you have to fight for your piece of the pie. But these women are demonstrating the power of abundance thinking, the recognition that when we support each other, we can create a bigger pie for everyone. I witnessed this firsthand at the conference. Women who would traditionally be competitors were openly sharing resources, making introductions, and collaborating on projects. One founder told me, in my mother's generation, the mentality was that there was only room for one Black woman at the table, so you had to fight to be that one. We've rejected that lie. We're building longer tables, not higher walls. The third key insight, and perhaps the most revolutionary, is that resilience doesn't mean isolation. True resilience comes from building networks of support, not suffering in silence. We've been taught that strength means handling everything on your own, never asking for help, never showing vulnerability. But this is a deeply flawed understanding of resilience. Real resilience isn't about never falling, it's about having people who will help you get back up when you do. It's about creating systems of support that allow you to bend without breaking. The Global Entrepreneurship Monitor and Wells Fargo reports show that women's startup activity rose significantly between 2021 and 2023, with female led startups outperforming male led counterparts on ROI and diversity metrics. These women aren't succeeding despite their openness about their struggles. They're succeeding because of it. Many leaders openly discuss their journeys through loss, grief, motherhood, and boundary setting before launching their ventures. This vulnerability hasn't weakened their leadership, it's strengthened it. It's made them more relatable, more authentic, and more effective at building diverse, innovative teams. Female founded startups have doubled their rate of growth compared to male counterparts since 2019. They've inspired a cultural shift toward valuing empathy and vulnerability as assets, not liabilities. I spoke with a woman who had built a thriving consulting firm after experiencing a period of homelessness. For years, I hid that part of my story, she told me. I thought people would respect me less if they knew. But when I finally started speaking openly about it, everything changed. Clients connected with me on a deeper level. My team became more committed to our mission. And most importantly, I stopped wasting energy hiding parts of myself. That energy could now go toward innovation and growth. This is a profound challenge to everything we think we know about leadership and success. And it's especially revolutionary for communities that have historically been told that they must be twice as strong, twice as resilient, twice as perfect just to get a seat at the table. What these women are demonstrating is that true strength doesn't come from pushing through pain. It comes from healing it. It doesn't come from setting aside your humanity. It comes from embracing it fully. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about abandoning ambition or lowering our standards. It's about recognizing that sustainable success requires sustainable practices. It's about understanding that our greatest achievements come not from burning ourselves out, but from building ourselves up along with our communities. The traditional model of success tells us that we must choose between achievement and well being, between professional success and personal fulfillment, between making an impact and taking care of ourselves. But what if this is a false choice? What if the path to our greatest achievements isn't paved with exhaustion and sacrifice, but with boundaries, community support, and intentional healing? What if softness isn't weakness, but power? Today, I challenge you to reimagine what strength looks like in your own life and work. I challenge you to consider how embracing your full humanity, including your vulnerability, your need for rest, your capacity for healing, might actually be your greatest competitive advantage. What would happen if you gave yourself permission today to choose softness over struggle? How might your business, your leadership, your relationships transform if you led with compassion first for yourself and others? This isn't just a personal revolution, it's a collective one. When we reject the false narrative that success requires suffering, we create space for more voices, more innovation, more sustainable models of achievement that don't come at the cost of our well being. In a world that constantly demands more productivity, more sacrifice, more proof of our worth, choosing softness is not surrender. It is resistance, it is revolution, it is reclamation of our power on our own terms. The future of leadership doesn't belong to those who can endure the most pain. It belongs to those who have the courage to heal it. The future of business doesn't belong to those who can sacrifice the most. It belongs to those who can create the most sustainable models of success for themselves and their communities. So today, I invite you to join this revolution of softness. Take one radical step toward healing, toward boundaries, toward community. Because in doing so, you're not just transforming your own life and work, you're helping to create a world where success doesn't require suffering, where achievement doesn't demand sacrifice, where power comes not from pushing through pain, but from transforming it into purpose. Thank you